beautiful Sunday morning, and we'd like you to join us on our very first sing-along song. So please stand on up, stretch those legs, and join us in God You Are.
Capistrano Valley. Woo! My name is Arpan Petros. I'm a staff minister here. I heard on the news that California is now open for business since the rain has stopped. Woo! Whatever you did last week, whatever you did during the rain, you are welcome here. We're a spiritual community, we're a trans-denominational community, and we honor all paths and beliefs to God. But the biggest path that we honor and love the most is love. So if you're into love, you're in a good place. Welcome, and follow me as we get the shindig on the road. We're going to light the candles of faith. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony, equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for all shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for all, the universal religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. As the graceful Anita Baralti lights that last candle, let it represent the path that brought you here this morning. And please join me in a spiritual mind treatment of prayer, a way of centering yourself, a way of quieting the noise in that wonderful, wonderful mind of yours. Just close your eyes just for a second. Know with me right here and right now that there is one presence, one consciousness, one universal force that we call God. And through God, all things are possible. And through God, our divinity is revealed. And through God, our path, our purpose, our intention, our consciousness is shown to us. And this morning we say thank you, God, because we are open to receive the wisdom and the love and the grace and the direction of what we're to do next. Without you, we are lost. You are the beacon and the light, and you are the direction for where we need to go. And as I release this to the universe, I know all is holy, sacred, complete, and done. Together we say, and so it is. And now the lovely Pam Rock will read.
Thank you, Reverend Arpat. We're going to first say our declaration of principles, and then we'll have our affirmation for today. So if you'll say with me, I believe in God, the one creative intelligence, operating through the universe and operating throughout my entire being, now and always. I believe this perfect spirit operates upon the law of mind and creates my experience exactly according to my belief. I believe this perfect creative intelligence can be used by me and by every other person to produce health, abundance, and love in mind, body, and total life experience. I use it now, and I rejoice in it, and so it is. Our affirmation, please say with me, there is a power for good in the universe greater than I am, and I say yes to its perfect expression through me, and so it is.
Thank you, Pam, and please welcome Kelly Corsino.
People feel the light within the world. Oh, Kelly, that's a wonderful way to start. Woo. Okay. Turning this on, and nothing's happening. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, yes, that's it. Back to the basics. That's our theme for this month. And our two assistant ministers have us off to a wonderful start. I did watch all of both services. It was wonderful. And so, yes, we started with the thing itself. Reverend Patty set us up with what is this thing and where is it everywhere present, that it is that thing that is love, that thing that is all-knowing, that thing that is divine mind. And then Reverend Judy last week told us what it does, how to use it. I've only done this for 35 years. Come on, give me a break. Today I'm doing what it does. What it does. And basically what it does is it makes all things new. It renews, it uplifts, it provides, it moves through us until we're more it, until there's more of it in life. That's what it does. It makes life more lovely, more powerful, more loving, more prosperous, healthier. That's what it does. That's what it does. And it can only do for us what it can do through us. Meaning, we have to make it receptive. And often that is the hardest part. Because we think that we have already been receptive to this thing itself. We've got our vision, we know what we want, we've got it painted out, we've got it written out, we've made a collage of it, and it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. There's a dark night of the soul, there's disappointment, there's heartbreak, there's gnashing of the teeth, whatever there is. There's yeah. And anyway, to remember that it is everywhere present at all times. And we're always seeing, we're living in thick thought. We're seeing the results of our beliefs, of our own personal beliefs. I'm not seeing the results of your beliefs. I don't even see the same universe as you see. That's the amazing thing. We all see it individualized through us. Well, yesterday, there was a great big knock at my gate. And my gate is far from my door, and it had to be a big person to make that big knock. And so I was still in my house coat. It was 10 o'clock in the morning, but it was Saturday. I was making myself breakfast. So I up my slippers and my house coat, opened the gate, and there's these three little kids, and the water's going. I mean, it's really going. And the little kids say, "You need to turn your water off. It's been going since all morning. It's been going since early this morning. You need to stop it." So I thanked them profusely. I said, "I'll look after it." I called my landlady. I actually went to the automatic sprinkler system and set it from on to off, and it kept flowing. And the kids came back. And they said, "Well, what are you going to do?" I said, "Well, I called my landlady. I'm turned it off. They said, well, maybe you need to call a plumber. A little child may lead them. So by this time I thought, really, I needed to turn this thing off. So nothing had happened. No one had responded so far. So I got dressed, went down the street, found the first man that I was the fourth house down, and I said, do you think you can help me? My water won't turn off. And anyway, he came and he helped me, and then the landlord came, and everything was good. But those little kids were the voice of God for me. Because they wouldn't let me just stop, say, I've done what I can do. I was happy with, I've done what I can do. But they knew better. They knew better. Maybe you should call a plumber, they said. And honestly, there was a little girl in her crowd, I'm sure she might have been 7 or 8, really little kids. And they were kind of having fun playing in that water, even though it was cold. So sometimes our messages come from the most surprising places. They come from a show that we've seen, from a book that we're reading. And Ernest Holmes says, what this thing does is it is the thing that inspires every piece of art, every invention, every scientific discovery has come through this one mind. It's all come through it. Well, I just got back from a wonderful trip of a lifetime to Rome and Florence and Pompeii. And this building, the Pantheon, which means all gods, was built to honor all the gods. It was built in 30 BC. Wow. Before Jesus, before Christ, before Christianity, it was a temple. And it's still standing. It's huge. It's amazing. And the architecture is inspiring. The inside of it looks somewhat like that. I took pictures too, but they didn't actually look that good. But the inside of it is created as if a perfect circle, a perfect sphere, was sitting inside this building. Before service, Patrick and I were talking about how interesting it is. We think that we've invented engineering. We think we've invented so many things that actually have come through many civilizations, like indoor plumbing, like running water. We think we've created it, and no, we think we've created great architecture. And it's been created many times before. And of course, the Romans were copying from the Greeks, who were copying from someone else, who were copying from someone else. And when we were in China years ago, their civilization, they had artifacts from 8,000 years ago anyway. So art and the beauty and the loveliness that it inspires. I want to tell you a little bit more about the Pantheon. We had a guide for almost everything we did, which was so great because I got to learn so much. And the guide was telling us that she took us around the outside, first of all, walking around the outside. So we had a sense of how big it is, because if you just go in, it gets diminished by all the people and the wonderful paintings and sculptures and things. It's huge. And to the left of the outside, if you go around the left, you come to a statue of an elephant. And that elephant is facing away from you as you're coming around that way. So his backside is to us. And his backside is actually to the door of the place where Galileo was tried. In that building in which Galileo had to recant his ideas about the universe, because the church said, can't be so. It's treason, it's not treason, what is it? Blasphemy and heresy to say such things. And as his great friend is the sculptor Bernini. And Bernini said, so Bernini built this elephant. And he placed it that way to tell the church what he thought about the elephant without so much as telling them. Okay. What else did we do? We went to the Colosseum, another great architectural, incredible thing. It was a very cold day. It looked like this to us. So that's the inside of the Colosseum. Huge, huge, huge. What went on there? All sorts of spectacles, all sorts of performances, all sorts of contests, hunting and wild animals and gladiators and criminals. And criminals were put in there. And of course, Christians were criminals up until the 2nd century. So yes, they were probably there, but the archaeologists that led us on the trip said there is an evidence that one Christian died in that Colosseum, so there. It's huge. Not only is it tall, so it's very tall, and we could have taken the elevator, but we walked. And walked, and walked, and walked, and walked, all the way up to the top, which is the place where the women and the children and the slaves could view these spectacles. The first layer was for the senators and their wives. The second for the free men. The third for another kind of man. I don't know what, but it was all men. And then the 4th level, the top level, was where the women got to watch these things. We went to a place called the Borghese Gallery. Borghese Gallery, evidently, how many of you know know Bernini's work or know of Bernini? Okay, lots of you, good. According to our guide, he had 900 pieces of art, at least, in Rome. 900. This isn't a guy that did one and then said, I'm done. I'm getting bored now. 900. And so this is one of his sculptures, and it's Apollo chasing Daphne. It's quite amazing. He also did a David, not the David in Florence, but he did a David, and it's smaller than the one in Florence. But this particular sculpture, if you could see it up close, it looks like her gown is flowing. It looks like his toga or whatever he's wearing is moving. It's amazing to me that a sculptor can capture that movement in marble and her fear. But the amazing thing about this, that myth, Daphne cried out and she said, help, help, he's going to hurt me. And her dad, Poseidon, changed her into a laurel tree. And you can see in the sculpture that one of her legs has become tree, and so it's changed from smooth to the bark of a tree, and her hands are becoming the leaf of a tree. And those leaves are so fragile. Now, this was done in what, the 1500s? So fragile that if you just touch it lightly, it'll ring like crystal. It'll ring like crystal. So Bernini, even though he did 900 or so, was expressing that divine presence. We went to the Spanish Steps. And the Spanish Steps, why do I want to go to the Spanish Steps? Because it's a famous place for meeting people. Well, we already knew each other, so probably aren't going to meet too many other people. But at the bottom of the Spanish Steps, so how this thing works through us is like those little kids that wouldn't let me go until I took the next action, is if it is known through your mind what you love, it will become evident. And since I was a teenager in grade 11, I know you don't call it grade 11 here, but anyway, in 11th grade in Canada, I loved the Romantic poets. They were my favorite. It was what I was going to study at university. And so at the foot of the Spanish Steps, oh, there I am, the foot of the Spanish Steps, looking warm, and is the Keats Shelley house. So John Keats and Percy Bysshe Shelley were some of those poets that I fell in love with at 15 years old. And here there is a museum to them because what did they do? They hung out in Rome. These British poets hung out in Rome because it was so beautiful and it was warm. John Keats had tuberculosis, died at 25. And if you go, they had a library there, but I have a couple of his books. He has volumes and volumes of, well, a lot of poetry. And he did it by age 25. That inner urge to create is what it does. And it does it uniquely through you. Quote, Keats has a very famous quote, beauty is truth, truth, beauty. Beauty is truth, truth, beauty. That is all you know on earth and all you need to know. And that's the science of mind. And that's what it does. When we can see beauty, as Reverend Patty's talked about, in each other, in God, in our prayer chair, in the present. We can see it everywhere, seeing the beauty and truth that is one. It's who we've come here to be. And of course, I didn't give you a full shot. I thought I'd censor it, or I thought it'd be censored. But anyway, Michelangelo's David, which is by far one of the most magnificent pieces I've ever seen. And many of you have heard that when Michelangelo was asked, how did he do this? He said, I just chipped away the pieces that weren't David. Because two other sculptors turned down that piece of marble. Two other sculptors, famous sculptors in the time, said, no, we can't do anything with this piece. But Michelangelo saw it, and he saw David emerge from it. Isn't that interesting? It's white Carrara marble, just exquisite. It's absolutely beautiful. There were people all around, and I could have stayed there just admiring it. But we also went to Pompeii. And Pompeii was where I saw evidence that over 2,000 years ago, they had knowledge about a lot of things that we think we've invented, like running water, like this amphitheater that had perfect acoustics even today. There was a place where it would be a speaking place, maybe a singing place, but they had a place where the speaker's footsteps were still there in the center of the stage, and our guide had someone go and step on them and sing. Fortunately, she was a singer and wanted to do that, and it carried. It was so amazing. You could, and if you spoke from over here, not so good. But if you spoke exactly in the right spot, everyone in that whole amphitheater could hear you. Now, there's only half of it there now because they're still uncovering the other half. So Pompeii was completely filled with ash after the Mount Vesuvius erupted. You know, I love palm trees. Well, my vision is always palm trees is in my vision. So there we are walking through Rome, and I must admit, some of the old consciousness came through because I got lost quite a bit. And my sister gets lost as much, and she was saying, I'm just terrible with directions, I can't read maps, and I'm like, well, we're planting something in mind there. But anyway, we were attempting to find a church to do some chanting at that night. It was a church that they had advertised only 30 people were allowed for this one event, and then they were going to show us through the church and the tombs in it, and then chant by candlelight. wow, that sounds great. We never did find it. We never did find it, but we found these palm trees. So Heather's Church. I think one of the best examples for creativity and what it does are Wade and Kimberly Wooldridge. And what they do, not just musically, but what they do creatively when they do our announcements is absolutely sensational. There is nothing like it anywhere else. There's nothing like it anywhere else. I watched them do the yoga one last week. It was absolutely amazing. I don't know if any of you will remember what they did. I hope you're also remembering what they were announcing, because they did a really good job. Anyway, there's something coming. The universe is giving me a gift tonight, because in July, when we had our full eclipse and the moon was pink, and the moon was pink for over an hour in the middle of the night, 4 o'clock in the night, I woke up, I looked out my window, and I said, oh, it's pink. And I went back to sleep. But tonight we get another chance. So immediately I looked up, when's the next total eclipse of the moon? January 20th, 2019. Wow, my birthday. How great, the universe is giving me a wonderful gift. So I thought, I remembered it. I knew it was going to happen tonight or tomorrow night. And here on the Pacific, it's happening tonight. It starts, so just for those of you who are moon lovers, it starts at 7:30 is when it starts to eclipse. So that just is going to look rusty until about 8:30. From 8:30 till 9:30, there'll be a full eclipse of the moon. It should be blood moon. It'll be red. And the reason it's red is because it contains all of the colors of the sunsets. So that's why we get a red moon on an eclipse of the moon. Anyway, it reminded me of beloved Rumi. And his whole quote is what I'd like to quote to you today. I've quoted parts of it before, but this is what the whole quote is. Very perfect for what it does. For years, copying other people, I tried to know myself. From within, I couldn't decide what to do. Unable to see, I heard my name being called. Then I walked outside. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. So what that's saying to me is, stay awake. Stay awake, beloved ones. Stay awake to the spiritual magnificence that you are. Stay awake to the infinite possibilities that are yours to express. Do not be limited by how old you are, what birthday you're celebrating. Do not be limited by your gender. It's no longer the year 0. Do not be limited by your education or lack thereof. Listen to that voice for God, and then don't go back to sleep. Stay awake. You have gifts to give. That's what the thing itself does in us. It gives us these gifts to share with each other, to bless each other, to inspire each other. Stay awake. See the beauty that you are. See the beauty everywhere in all others. Let that creative mind be expressed through you. Let that creative mind be expressed through you. this being my birthday, and like I'm the same age as Reverend Judy now. I wasn't up until today. But this wasn't one that I was looking forward to. It didn't have any juice. And I love my birthday. It's like, oh, good day to celebrate me, set my intention for the coming year, let go of what no longer serves me, go on to the things that I really want to create and enjoy. But I wasn't really digging it. And so I'm taking some actions around that, and that resulted in a date on Friday morning. And who was there but a couple of our members, and I didn't know this guy's last name, so I couldn't, well, why don't you join? No thanks, it's fine. But anyway, I got a lesson in Palestinian history, and it was pretty interesting, a completely different thing for me. Be willing to let go of the good so you can accept the better. Be willing to let go of what is so that you can be that better. So that's for me. And I was feeling really fat and frumpy with my sisters in Rome. They were dressed in they looked like models. Both of them had capes and high-heeled boots, and I was wrapped up in my sister's puffy jacket just to stay somewhat warm. And so I felt fat and frumpy, and my sister said, no, that isn't who you are. That isn't what you look like. And it's so good to have someone that will hold a different mirror up for you. She had 2 years ago, she'd made for all of us children a DVD of all of the old movies that my mom and dad had taken when we were kids. It's really weird to watch these movies with no sound, because when you put them on a DVD, there's no sound. But anyway, it was great. She said, look at yourself when you were a young woman. You were remarkable, she said. Now, this is the woman I always looked up to. I wanted to be just like her. And I always thought, but I look just like Mom. And I made that bad. And that's too bad. Because if I'd embraced it, I could have been here much earlier. So one of the things I'd like to leave all of us with this morning is, it doesn't matter how many breaths you take. It matters how many moments take your breath away. How many moments take your breath away? Let one of them be tonight with that blood moon. Watch it. You can wish upon it if you want. I won't be superstitious and say that's going to be it just is going to be magnificent, because it's going to be beautiful. And beauty is ours. It's truth, it's beauty, and so it is. Okay, let's pray about that. In this holy moment, right now, I remind myself of the nature of life, that it's good and only good, and that everything is connected in this goodness that is God. It is that divine presence that is all-knowing, that is first cause to all creation, resides within each one of us, resides within me. And so I speak this word in the first person for everyone here. And this is what I know at the heart of me. I know in the heart and soul of me that because God is my source and God is what I am expressing, I am enough. Because God is my source of what I'm expressing, I open myself to new creative endeavors, to new ideas, to a fuller embrace of what's possible. Because God is my source and I am enough, I embrace greater prosperity than ever before. that thing floods me with good. And I'm determined to see good everywhere and in everything. I know that because God is my source, I am the wholeness of the divine, that my body is healthy, that it is filled with energy and aliveness and the zest for life. God is, I am. I know that this is so, regardless of whether I am disappointed, whether I am discouraged, whether I'm cold or hot. God is moving through me, getting my attention, saying, yes, my beloved, yes, my beloved, yes, my beloved. I'm so very grateful for knowing what I know. I'm grateful for the privilege of seeing the beauties of the world, including the beauty of other people's hearts and minds and my own heart and mind. And with my heart filled with gratitude, knowing that it's already done. I simply place this word in the law of mind, and please help me to accept it by saying with me, and so it is. And now, Kelly Corsino.
You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take, bless the magic that you make, the reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. All the places you will go, and the people you will know. Don't worry when or where or how. You need to know that now you're on the right track. Don't need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings. You will do amazing, amazing things. Yes, you will. this song. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing, amazing things. Yes, you will. Yes, amazing, 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 amazing things. Wow, you will do amazing things. Come on, feel it. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing Thank you to my helpers here, Karen and Rick. Thank you. Thank you to the band.
For those of you who are with us on Christmas Eve, what you received on Christmas Eve was a gift from Kelly Corsino, a CD. Please give her another hand. Such a generous thing to do, Kelly. Thank you. It's now time for us to share our gifts, our tithes, our offerings. So if the stewards would come forward. And just a minute. It's dropped away. I'll have to give it to you later. I'll catch you later. So as we take our gifts in our hands, we just let ourselves know the gratitude, appreciation, gratefulness that we experience for everything that we have to share, everything we have to give, everything that we're blessed to know. Now let's say our prosperity affirmation together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply and symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply.
this is our time to contemplate giving of our gifts. And this is a gift from me to Heather for her birthday. May the good Lord be with you on every road you roam. And may sunshine and happiness surround you when you're far from home. May you know you are loved, cherished through and through. You always do unto others as you'd have done to you. You are courageous and you are brave, and in our hearts you'll always stay forever young, forever young. May good fortune be with you, may your guiding light stay strong. Build a stairway to heaven with a prince or a vagabond. Through sunshine and rain, in our hearts you'll always remain forever young, forever And with our hearts full of love, we pray that we have served you well. For all the wisdom of a lifetime, we are grateful as well. And wherever you may be, we're right behind you every day. Forever young, we wish you stay forever young.
That was very tender, and I love that song. Beautiful, thank you. Yeah, and I see it touched other people too. If you have been in service today or this week, we'd like to acknowledge you, so would you please stand so we can give you a lot of love. Thank you for all that you do, all that you are. And then if the practitioners would remain standing, the practitioners are trained in the art and science of affirmative prayer. And if you want your life to be transformed, make an appointment with one of these people. You'll be so happy you did. In service today, we have Patrick Freeman, we have Anita Baroldi, we have Fred Mercado and Pam Rock. And stop by one of the prayer tables or the Tranquility Room and get a taste of that transformation today. Let's acknowledge our practitioners. If you're visiting us for the very first time today, we have a gift for you. And all you need to do is identify yourself by jumping up and doing a dance. No, by raising your hand or indicating that somehow that you're here for the first time. So here and here and here, so many people, the yay. And we're going to acknowledge you. So if you would stand, so that we can see you, but if you don't feel like standing, you're fine, Cindy. So congregation, please repeat after me. Welcome to our center.
Welcome to our center.
You make a difference by being here.
You make a difference by being here.
The presence of God is flowing through you.
The presence of God is flowing through you.
We're grateful for you. We're grateful for you.
We're grateful for you.
And so it is.
And so it is.
In the gift that you got, there's a welcome card, and if you fill it out and take it to the bookstore after service, you'll receive another gift. It's a book. And you'll be very happy. So let's acknowledge our visitors. Look forward to you coming back. Do we have announcements?
Boy, do we ever.
Okay.
Conscious Connection meets today right here in this sanctuary from 12 to 12:30. Join the discussion about today's topic, What It Does, facilitated by Mary Brogdon, and childcare is provided.
And join us this week for Wednesday's Wisdom as Reverend Patty presents Endings and Beginnings. And what a perfect way to begin the new year. So come at 7 o'clock and be inspired.
On Monday evenings at 6:30 p.m., Mary Brogdon, again, is leading a book study on the book Judgment Detox by Gabrielle Bernstein. This is provided on a love offering basis, and a sign-up sheet is available on the kiosk. See Mary if you have any questions.
And starting this Tuesday, January 22nd, Dr. Heather is starting a new 10-week class, The Essential Ernest Holmes. It's a great class. And it will be on Tuesday nights at 6:30, and there is a sign-up sheet on the kiosk. And if you have any questions, see Dr. Heather.
It's finally here! This Friday night, January 25th, 2019 at 7:30 p.m., composer and guitarist extraordinaire Hiroya Tsukamoto is going to grace us with his beautiful acoustic guitar music. He is originally from Japan and now lives in New York and is touring the U.S. He performs what is described as cinematic guitar poetry. And this concert is a mix of eclectic acoustic music, folk, and Japanese, and storytelling is a big part of his presentation. Here is a brief sample of one of his songs titled Gemini Bridge. Just a taste. Tickets will be available at the door for a $25 love offering. This may be the only time he'll be coming our way, so bring your family and friends for an amazing evening of music. Pretty good stuff.
And to save the best for last, today's flowers are from the office staff in celebration of Dr. Heather's birthday today. Happy birthday, Dr. Heather, and also happy birthday to Kathy Story and Vixen. We love you both so much. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Heather. Happy birthday to you. And we get to celebrate while we break bread and hospitality, but let's just remain standing and let's sing our closing song.
Let's get the children first.
Oh, whoa, no, we need children first, sorry.
I'm gonna let it shine.